All right, no one watching me yet. Here, let's just make sure that it is working on my computer. Hey, there I am. That's pretty neat. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. I imagine some people will catch up with me here momentarily. Got an overwhelming amount of response last night to my video. I was just kind of bored, so I made a video last night, and it turns out it was a very, very well-watched video, and I appreciate pretty much all last evening I was on the phone with people calling to wish me well, and the phone just, going crazy. My text messages going crazy. My inbox going crazy. So, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for the amount of support that you gave me. I've said it before. I'm really not feeling sick. I got some aches and pains. My throat's a little sore. I cough some, but by and large, most people I think who have this have it a lot worse than I do. Mine is very mild. So I'm just overwhelmed by the kindness and the kind words that everybody has had about it. I want to thank my wife's two sisters who dropped off a lot of goodies yesterday, sodas, snacks, chips, soups, things like that. So that was really greatly appreciated. And one question I got asked a lot was, can we share your video? There isn't a whole lot of people, first-hand accounts of this out there. If you want to share my video, I don't care. I can't really imagine strangers wanting to watch it. But if you want to share it, feel free to, because there's not a whole lot of first-hand accounts of relatively healthy people dealing with this. Basically, I am bored out of my mind, so I decided I'm going to do this every day. As long as I'm stuck in my basement, I'll do a video. So if you really have any compelling questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them for you. I have been cleaning my basement out. A lot of trash waiting to go out. Probably about 8-10 trash bags worth so far. I think I might make my basement semi-livable. You can see the area I'm in. I got my computer and stuff here. There's a little semi-finished room that was already down here when we bought the house. Has some hideous wallpaper that I try to cover up with posters. Just absolutely hideous wallpaper. But other than that, it's unfinished concrete floor, concrete block, semi-conditioned space. I mean, it's cozy, but it's not where I'd want to spend the rest of my life. But I do have this one semi-finished room that I spend the majority of my time in. I have a sofa bed with a television. So I'm kind of keeping busy just cleaning. Today I scanned a lot of old documents and the stuff that you don't know where to keep and things like that. So I've been scanning in old pictures, scanning in old documents, capturing some old video. Matter of fact, everyone who knows me knows I love old videos. I've been recording my laser discs. And if you don't know what laser discs are, shame on you. So I've been doing a lot to keep busy. Today I recorded my cousin Doug's wedding from VHS into a digital format for him. It's rendering right now. So I have been keeping busy. I did venture upstairs today and used a shower. I've been trying not to contaminate the rest of the house much, but I really needed a shower, and I disinfected everything when I was done. So that felt really good. I'm trying to wear the most situationally appropriate clothing through all this, as you can probably see. I'm kind of proud of this shirt because I bought it before I really needed it. So that's always good. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'll try to field them while we're doing this. I will turn around right now because I can't really see the questions on my phone. And I'll see if anybody has any questions. Where is my mask, Steve? Well, you can't get it through the video, so don't worry about that. My mask is not near me, but it is, before I go up the stairs, it is ready to be used. Quarantine sponsored by Tostitos and Pepsi. Yes. Very good, Casey. You know me very well. Have you seen that Typhoon for sale in York? No motor or transfer case. I have seen that. Yes, it's a friend of mine selling it, so I'm very familiar with it. If you'd like to buy it for me, Benito, I would be happy to work on that. Jeff, and that nice smart comment there. I like that. So I did find one thing. A friend of mine that I went to college with, he's based out in San Diego. Now, I'm not a medical guy. I don't know a lot about the medical world, but he his business in life basically is collecting blood specimens for scientific research and antibodies and things like that. So I'm going to give him a little shout out because I will be donating some of my blood via Cantor BioConnect. And they actually pay people for blood samples, so I'll actually be able to side hustle a little bit off of my affirmity. So I'll just give a shout out to Dave. If you know somebody being affected, it's a chance to make a couple $100, so check it out. What else did I want to share with anybody? I don't see any new questions rolling in, and I don't really have a whole lot to tell you about. I see a lot of people getting all crazy about going to the grocery stores and they're requiring masks in Pennsylvania. They have just plain gone mad here. And I'm kind of glad I'm not out in the stores this week because people are really going nuts about masks. And I'm just going to throw my 2 cents worth in. I spent the last couple weeks in situations where there were extraordinarily strict policies about exposure and the amount of sanitizer we'd use in those facilities and masks and precautions and things like that. And I still got it. So if you think that a little cloth mask at the grocery store is actually doing anything, I think you are really operating under a very false sense of security. And if you see somebody, trying to get into the grocery store without a mask, they're not a monster. They're probably just a little more practical than you. And if you're really that scared of getting it, stay home. You're going to get it whether you're wearing a mask or not. So just use common sense, people. And if you're under 50 with no existing health conditions, you really have nothing to worry about. That's kind of coughing there. I've been generally able to suppress it, but not there. That's about it. I'm not seeing any new questions. I'm not going to belabor this video unnecessarily long if there's no questions, but I just wanted to check in because really I am bored out of my mind. I do want to point out a couple things. I did get some nice comments on yesterday is my Velvet Elvis painting. Yes, I am into fine artwork. For reasons that I don't understand, my wife has chosen to not allow that in our living room, so I hang it in my office. And then also, the video you're watching is mirrored. It's backwards. And I would love to be able to fix that, but there's a couple problems. First of all, I like to use the forward-facing camera so I can see what you're seeing. And Facebook automatically mirrors the video when I do that. Now, some of you might say, but if you're using an iOS device, you can flip that back. And you're right, I could use an iPad or a device like that. The only problem is then I cannot use a microphone because there is no jack to plug it into on the iPhone, and I do not have the appropriate dongle to do so. So you're just going to have to imagine this being mirrored, or you could take this phone up to a mirror, and watch it in a mirror, and then you can see the correct orientation. So I suppose they do that so it's a little more helpful for me. So there's that. Probably this week the rest of my family is going to get tested. Just as a means of good practice, I guess. But I have been doing a good job of secluding myself from them and masking up and sanitizing and everything. I do need to go upstairs. So looks like I got another. Just curious, does this feel the same or worse than a regular cold? The same and different. Regular cold, I would probably have gotten over by now. I have had no congestion. I've had no stuffy nose. I haven't used any tissues or anything. Which normally when I have a cold, I go through tissues like crazy. Just a lot coughing, and I get a lot of aches and pains, especially in the morning. If I keep moving, the aches and pains kind of seem to go away. But if I'm idle, if I'm laying around, if I'm just waking up, the aches and pains are quite real. I get a little sensitive to if it's really loud noises, things like that tend to give me a little bit of a headache. But other than that, I don't really feel very ill, perhaps. I'd say it's no worse than a common cold, but it is different than a common cold. Did the doctors offer you any meds or suggest things to take? I was just told if I feel fine, within reason, I can just take Tylenol as needed to help regulate a fever or for any aches and pains. I have not prescribed anything. How long did it take to get the test results back? I got tested on Saturday at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was told it would take between 24 and 72 hours for a result. Got my result back Monday around lunchtime. So I'd say about 48 hours is how long it took me to get results back. Scott Bell, just feeling kind of sluggish. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm a little sluggish because I've been off work for like 6 days now. So I'm kind of getting in that lazy vacation mode. But not really. I'm not really that sluggish. I got a good 8 hours of sleep, and I was ready to get up and get moving. Worked on some projects around the basement. So not really too sluggish. Get a Mr. Microphone. So, yeah, I think the microphone I have does pretty good. It is kind of weird. I'm probably the only person ever to plug in a broadcast grade belt pack into a LG G7 phone. But you know me, I gotta sound good. I'm not going to do it tonight. Probably next time I talk to you, I might give you a little tour of the basement. That's probably something I'll pre-record, but I will confess I have a jukebox, a real jukebox, not one of them novelty ones. I have an air hockey table, which really isn't a lot of fun by yourself, but I also have one of those. I have a football toss game where you actually throw real footballs and try to get it in the hole. A couple different sizes, and you can score it. And so I got a couple things to keep me busy in terms of fun. I have. I'm not much of a board game guy. I'm not much of a book. I like books, but I'm not real bookish. I've read everything I've wanted to read. I don't read just for the sake of picking up a book and reading. Everything I've wanted to read, I have already. How high has my fever gotten? My current high is 99.5. That was recorded on Sunday. I broke the news to everybody on Tuesday evening. This is pretty much a known thing for me since Saturday. So, got a couple days lead on you. I do want to thank the amount of generous offers I got from people offering to drop things off at our doorstep and get things for us is overwhelming. Some people I haven't even seen in a long time were made some very kind offers, willing to drive, so much as an hour or two, just, if we needed, groceries or odds and ends. I want to say how much I appreciate that. We are all stuck in a house, but I am lucky to have family on both sides who live relatively close. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. But I think we're in good shape, so I'm not going to ask everybody to do that. Doug wanted to know what kind of microphone I am using. I am using a Telex, part of the Bosch family. I'm more of a Shure guy, but I really do like this mic. It is a Telex WT1000 belt pack going into a Telex FMR1000 wireless receiver. So I have two of them, but I'm using the belt pack. I normally use my Sony titanium-bodied handheld mic, but I kind of think a lavalier mic works better. So thanks, Doug, for asking. So Adam, I am not going to be getting naked. That is not going to happen. Doug, does anyone else in the family have it? Nah, not to my knowledge. They are going to end up getting tested just out of an abundance of caution, which I think is good. I can tell you one of my biggest regrets I have is not getting a haircut any sooner because my hair is like stupid long. I feel like I look like one of those Amish guys that I see at a lot of the construction sites I work at. And then also, I am typically a clean-shaven person. I hate having scruff on my face, but if I have really long hair and I'm clean-shaven, I look absolutely ridiculous. And this is also kind of my way of protesting our governor's closure of hair cutters. So kind of a solidarity thing for me. So let me see if there's any other new questions. I think I've already asked that. What mic might... I already asked that. Did you lose your sense of smell or taste? No. My smell is probably weakened, but I have never had a very astute sense of smell to begin with. So my smell probably isn't as sharp, but my taste, my sense of taste is very, very good. The camera only shows your upper body. Are you wearing pants? Yes, Steve, I am wearing blue jeans. So if you don't believe me, there you go. I'm also wearing socks because the concrete floor at my basement is cold. So even when it's comfortable down here, it's always cold. Caveman again. I ended up shaving my head a week ago. This whole thing. Scott, that does not surprise me. Doug, that's 70s show. That's about when this wallpaper is from. Wow, there's 26 people watching this. That is, to me, is just amazing because I don't consider myself to be that terribly interesting. But I appreciate you all tuning in. I don't know how long I have been on now. I've been on for a little while. But if y'all are watching, I'm more than happy to keep talking. But I am kind of running out of things to say. I can tell you all about S10 pickups. You know, if you have questions about that, I can certainly answer that. Anything about old technology, antiquated formats, obsolete things. I'm the master of obsolete formats of technology, so I'm more than happy to discuss that. Pretty much discuss anything because I'm bored. We have nothing else to do. That's why we're watching. Well, that's fair enough, John. I had a good conversation with John last night. We were discussing how there's probably no one in the world I have known longer than John Kilmore. We're almost the same age, grew up the same church in the nursery, and I probably only have contact with 2 people, maybe 3, that I have known since diapers that I still know to this day. So that was pretty nice to have a conversation with him. Can we get a cough? Well, Regina, if you'd have been here earlier, you could have heard one. Here for the data, brother. You're the first person I know to have gotten this. Let's shoot the breeze soon. Get well. Thanks, Don. Tell us why composite audio video became obsolete so quickly. Well, it was the standard for like 50 years. I don't think it really became obsolete so quickly. It just became unnecessary. We had S-video and then component video, which split that signal up a couple different ways. But I'm not going to bore everybody up on that, Tori. I think the digital revolution killed that. You look good. How long have you been in the basement? I have been in the basement since Saturday. Since I took the test on Saturday. Basically, Friday I was starting to feel a little achy, but I had been doing a lot on Friday. We were doing stuff outside. We were doing stuff around the house, and I just figured I overdid it on Friday because I did 4 10-hour shifts last week. I had Friday off, so we were doing a lot of stuff outside around the garden and things like that outside. So I just thought that I overdid it. And on Saturday, it just kept getting worse, and I started coughing. And at that point, I decided to get the test. Don asked if I had a fever. I never really had a proper fever. Never went. I have yet to hit 100 degrees. I do try to take my temperature once or twice a day, and I'm honestly, I'm sitting right around 99 right now. I have 2 different thermometers just so I can get the average, but yeah, I'm right around 98.9, 99, somewhere in there. Is the banana running? No, my yellow truck is still apart, and I probably could go out to the garage and work on it. My biggest problem is I need to get some parts powder coated, and I can't get that work done right now. And I just don't want to spray bomb certain parts that I'll never be able to get to again. I need to get my motor mounts, my air conditioner, compressor brackets, and my valve cover sandblasted and either powder coated or professionally painted. It's just stuff that I do not, stuff I want to do well. It just does not hold up well with spray paint in certain parts, and until I can get a powder coater to do it, I'm probably not going to get anything done on my truck, and it really is hanging me up, because if I had those parts, I had them coated, I could be out there putting my truck back together. Because I haven't moved my truck in like 3-4 months, so I would like to be able to drive my yellow truck, because very soon here, it's going to be very nice out, and then I'm going to want to drive it. That's not considered the basement. That's S10 land. Yeah, it could be considered S10 land. And if it weren't for the fact that I have a bunch of mess sitting over here from where I've been cleaning over there, I would show you my S10 library, but there's a big pile of stuff in front of it right now. That a CRT monitor? Sorry if this was asked already. No, I'll tell you what, Don, I like having my dual monitors, but one of my monitors died on me last week, so I just can't do one monitor. So I resurrected an old Gateway 19-inch monitor that is terrible. It's awful, but at least I can have side-by-side screens for now. So no, not a CRT monitor, but it is a terrible, terrible old monitor. I'd recommend powder coating. I forgot who we use at work, but it takes a while. Yeah, I know a guy. Regine, there you go. There's your cough. So I'm just reading here, see if we have any new questions. I know I missed it. I made a really snarky comment on Matt Myers' live video earlier when he was doing some Earth Day songs, and songs that I knew he wouldn't know, and that would just be kind of lighten the mood. I saw he left a comment earlier, but I missed what his song was. I think it was something along the lines of Heavy D. So I don't sing, so there's always that. Any other questions here? I don't want to keep you all night, because for the first time ever, we're trying DoorDash this evening, and we're getting Chili's. So kind of looking forward to my dinner getting here. Sounds like that's a chest cough. It is. It's very much. Do I have a quarantine playlist? Not really. Anybody who knows me knows that I have DJ'd for the past 20-some years, and you'll see here I have a stack of hard drives here. I have like 4 terabytes of music, and I very seldom listen to any of it because it is too much to pick through. So honestly, I have been jamming to iHeart Country 90s most of the day today. That has kind of been my playlist for the day. Whenever I don't have something particular I want to listen to, I have a weakness for 90s music, and today it was iHeart Country 90s. How long have you been in Quasi Time so far? Josh, I've been down here, let's see, till Sunday, to Monday, to Tuesday, to Wednesday. 4 days of solitude. So Greg says, I better acknowledge my wife or she won't bring me dinner. That is a very good point. That is a very good point because I'll hear the doorbell. Well, there's my wife saying hello. So, at least she's watching. And the thunder rolls. It does. Thunder does roll. There's a lot of great music from the 90s, especially country music. The problem is, whether it be pop or country, the best music always gets forgotten. The stuff like when you say 90s music, everybody automatically assumes you're talking CNC Music Factory or Getting Jiggy with It. But, there's so much deep, good music that people forget about there. Joe Diffie, recently passed away. That's just golden 90s music. That's just wonderful music. There's all kinds of good stuff there. I hate country music. People who know me know I despise country music, but something about the 1990s that was okay. I don't know why. I hate old country, all that Merle and Willie stuff. I don't like it, but I can't stand this Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan garbage either. Just something about the 1990s. It was fun. The 70s and 80s, 100s. I'll tell you what. I can give or take 70s music. There's very little there for me. 80s, we've been jamming to the 80s for 30 years now. I'm kind of done with that. My wife says, I can see you without a mask. Yeah, we have not seen each other without masks on for a while. Hope you're doing okay. Hope your downtime goes quick and you recover fully. Thanks, Josh. Tons of good written 90s music. There is. I need to give everybody a tour of my music library. For those who don't know, I don't really collect much music anymore, but I used to. And I have probably 5,000 CDs and probably 4,000 or 5,000 pieces of vinyl. It is a humongous music collection, and it is completely organized and cataloged, and I know where everything is. But the funny part is, I bet in the last 5 years, I've added maybe 2 or 3 pieces of music to it. I really haven't added much to it in the last 15 years. So almost all of that music was accumulated before I turned 30. So yeah, there's a lot of it. And honestly, I'm probably going to offload most of that vinyl at some point. I'd like to get it that I could just maybe have one good bookshelf of the stuff I really like, and the rest of it is probably going to go away. It's not really worth much. So let me see if there's anything new here. Have you checked out Club Jam Country? Not so much 90s, but more like the style at Bucks. No, I should check that out, Greg. I will research that. Listen to some old Van Halen. The only problem with old Van Halen is it's just as bad as later Van Halen. Same boat as me on country. If someone is playing classic country in the shop, I want to throw a fit. Yeah, I don't blame you. Movie soundtracks. I love movie soundtracks. Matter of fact, Frank, I'm glad you brought this up. My 3 favorite movies of all time have 2 of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time. Well, first of all, we have to acknowledge what I call the John Travolta trifecta, which is Saturday Night Fever, Grease, and Urban Cowboy. Okay, 3 of the finest movies of the 1970s. Well, I like Grease, and that is a timeless soundtrack. It's not, I wouldn't put it in my top 10 movies of all time, but Saturday Night Fever is like my favorite movie ever, and it has the greatest soundtrack ever. So, a great movie soundtrack there. And then Urban Cowboy would be another one of the greatest soundtracks ever. And it breaks several of the rules that I've already discussed because it is kind of 1980s country. But it's still, what an awesome soundtrack, what an awesome movie. I don't hate on modern music, Mark. There's a lot of crap old music. There's a lot of crap new music. Um, I gauge music by whether it's fun to listen to or not. Some of the music's fun. I can't hate on it. Not to mention, I have a 13-year-old daughter in my house, so I hear enough contemporary sounding music. How many people are watching here? I can't believe there's people still watching. There's 80 comments. There's 21 people watching. Wow. Hey, here's something I found today. It's got to be one of the funniest things ever. It is a comment card for the Internal Revenue Service. Now, can you imagine being the person that has to read all of these? Imagine having that job. I wanted to save that just because I thought that was really funny. American Graffiti has a good soundtrack if you like oldies. That is a timeless soundtrack. Great movie, but yeah, wonderful soundtrack. It seems like in the late 70s, early 80s, there were some amazing soundtracks. Yeah. Mark, fair enough. Okay. What is my other favorite movie? Would be Kingpin. It's probably the greatest comedy ever. Yeah, everybody tends to lean more toward Dumb and when it comes to like Farrelly Brother movies. I tend to lean more toward Kingpin. Fever Pitch is another one of my favorites. Which, if you know me with Boston Red Sox, no big surprise that I would like Fever Pitch. But Kingpin, what a great movie. Saturday Night Fever, really? Yes, Saturday Night Fever. That is a wonderful, wonderful movie. Star Wars original soundtrack. That's a great one. Although, you know, it's an orchestral score. But judging by the sound that my dogs are making upstairs, I think my dinner is probably somewhere close by. So, in closing here, I want to let everybody know I don't feel horrible. I don't feel like I'm dying. I have no pre-existing health conditions. I have no deficiencies. I have generally low blood pressure. I am at my ideal weight. I am at average height. I have reasonably good diet with known conditions. And I don't really have a severe case of this, so I really have no worries about this. Statistically, I just really have nothing to worry about. But I want to thank everybody for your concern on the matter. Maybe we'll do this again tomorrow. Maybe we'll do more than one tomorrow. But I'm glad that everybody's watching this. And like I said, please feel free to share this if you know somebody that is worried about it. If you know somebody that has it, feel free to share it. There's just not a lot of firsthand accounts out there. So, have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like I said earlier, feel free to share it if you want to. Good night.